Noise cancelling doesn't cancel sound. It adds a second one, an opposite wave, same shape, backwards. Line them up, and they disappear. Here's the insane part. If that opposite wave is late by about 60 millionths of a second, the whole thing falls apart. Everyone shows you the flat line. Almost nobody shows you the clock behind it. So here's what we're drawing. Why these can erase a jet engine, but not the voice right next to you. Same button, same chip. Let's pull it apart. Start with what you're actually fighting. Sound is just pressure, air being squeezed and stretched over and over, hundreds to thousands of times a second. To erase it, the earbud has to build the exact opposite of that squeeze, and it has almost no time to do it. So it packs in 2 microphones per bud, 4 across the pair, and a chip with one strange job. Listen to the world and then argue with it. The 2 mics do completely different jobs. The first faces outward, at the world, call it the lookout. It hears the noise coming before it ever reaches your eardrum, and that head start is everything. The second faces inward, pointed down your ear canal at the eardrum itself. Call it the inspector. It doesn't listen to the world. It listens to the result, checking constantly how much noise actually got through. One mic hears the problem. The other grades the answer. You're wearing the microphone that checks its own work. Here's the move. The lookout mic captures the incoming noise as a wave. Every jagged peak and dip. The chip takes that wave and flips it. Every peak becomes a dip. Every dip becomes a peak. A perfect mirror image, upside down. That mirror has a name, anti-noise. Then the speaker plays 2 things at once, your music and that anti-noise. When the real noise reaches your eardrum and meets its exact opposite, they cancel. A peak plus a dip is nothing. Flat. Silence. Built by adding sound to sound. But exact opposite hides a brutal catch. For 2 waves to cancel, they can't just be opposite in shape. They have to line up in time almost perfectly. Line them up right, and they vanish. Slip one of them even slightly late, and they stop cancelling and start adding. You don't get silence, you get more noise. And how late is too late depends on the sound. For a slow, low rumble, being a hair off barely matters. For a fast, high sound, that same tiny delay is a disaster. The wave has already moved on. Same error, completely different outcome. So the whole trick lives or dies on speed. So how much time does the earbud actually get? Look at the gap. From the lookout mic on the outside to the speaker firing into your ear is barely a centimeter or 2, and sound crawls about 1/3 of a millimeter every millionth of a second. Do the math on that little gap, and the answer is brutal. Roughly 60 microseconds, 60 millionths of a second to hear the noise, flip it into its mirror, and fire it back, before the real noise crosses that gap and hits your eardrum. Noise cancelling was never really about waves. It's a race, and the earbud only wins because sound is slow. Now it all makes sense. A jet engine, an air conditioner, a bus. Those are low, slow, steady drones. Long waves, and the next one looks just like the last, so the chip can predict it and line up its mirror perfectly. Easy race to win. But a voice? Speech is fast, high, and never repeats. The wave changes shape before the mic has even finished hearing it. By the time the earbud builds its mirror, the sound has already moved. It can't keep up. That's the whole answer to the question we opened with. Your earbuds erase the jet and let the voice through, not by choice, but because one race is slow enough to win and the other isn't. And here's the twist. Flip one setting, and those same outer mics stop inverting the world and start piping it straight through to you instead. Same microphones, same speaker, Same chip. The only thing that changed is whether the earbud is fighting the sound or forwarding it. That's transparency mode, noise cancelling, run in reverse. So read the drawing back. Outer mic hears the noise. Chip flips it into a mirror. Speaker fires that mirror in under 60 microseconds. Inner mic checks the silence and corrects it. Do that fast enough, and a 5-gram earbud erases a jet engine by adding one more sound. That's the drawing. Next drawing, the half second after you tap to pay. And the 4 companies you've never heard of that each take a cut of it. Subscribe so you don't miss it.